Welcome back to the countdown of my top 10 players of 2017, and number 7, as you can see, is going to be Cloud9's Torment. And I think that this might be a bit of an adaptation on what I've done so far. It's the type of video that most of you guys have been asking for in the comments, and I've been really waiting for this one because finally I can make some direct comparisons between, well, Torment obviously and Gimmick, who's already been in my list at number 10. I was really worried actually if I was going to be making direct comparisons, talking about players as an individual. I'm going to start spoiling what comes later in the list, but yeah, now we'll be able to do that without being too worried, because of course Gimmick's already been announced as my number 10. So I'll be able to make some direct comparisons between those guys. Also, I'm not going to go through all of Torment's results one by one, because I did of course, go through Cloud9's results in the Gimmick video, but I'll mention the ones that are unique to Torment, you know, exactly what their scores were, and then I'll do a quick summary of his tournament results of the year before I talk about why I think he deserves to be number 7 for 2017. So firstly, Torment, he made an appearance as a substitute for Selfless in X Games, and I actually forgot about this before I was making this list. I realized when I was looking back at the X Games prize money distribution that Torment did get 3rd place of this event alongside Dapper and Miho, and that was firstly losing 3-0 to Flipside Tactics, which wasn't a great start, but of course Flipside were just fresh off the back of a DreamHack Summer victory, so nobody's going to really be too disappointed in Selfless for that loss. Maybe 3-0 is a bit harsh, but nobody's going to be too sad. They did bounce back though with a 3-2 win over G2, who continued to be struggling at this time, and then a 3-1 revenge over Flipside. So they got their immediate revenge, and that was a super impressive result, because like I said, Flipside had just won DreamHack Summer. And then they went on and lost in the semi-finals to Energy, who were the eventual winners, but they only lost 4-3. So that's a really, really impressive result, I think. Very impressive tournament for Torment, and that's outside of his main roster, and we'll come back to that later because I think that is important when we're discussing Torment and his strengths as a player. The other unique results for Torment are not good ones when we compare him to Gimmick, I mean, and that is that himself and Squishy did play the Universal Open together. Gimmick, I don't know if he played it, but he certainly didn't make it to the LAN portion of it, where Squishy and Torment, they fell 1-2 in a best of 3 to Flipside Tactics, Marky Duda and Cuxer, and then straight away in the loser bracket they got knocked out 0-2 against Fibions, Chicago and Hato. So both those results obviously are not great. I don't mark them down, or I don't mark Torment down as much for these results though, as I do give him credit for the X Games results, partly because it's 2v2, partly because it's best of 3. But yeah, also you know, 2 bad results in a row. It can happen. We still have to take that into consideration though when we put together Torment's results as a whole. So just to give a very brief tournament summary of the year, like I said, Torment started off his X Games, or started off his 2017 before both of his teammates did, because of course they all did not make any splash in RLCS Season 3. Did Torment, Gimmick or Squishy? But Torment got that 3rd place at X Games, which I think is a great result in Selfless. Then he won, of course, DreamHack Atlanta alongside Gimmick and Squishy, same teammates but in a different organization. Well, they weren't an org, they were just a team name called the Muffin Men. And if you want to know those exact results, go check out my Gimmick video. And then RLCS Season 4 playoffs, they won it as Cloud9. They won gnarly as Cloud9. Then they came 3rd at RLCS Season 4 LAN as Cloud9, and took 3rd at E-League, although I don't think that was a particularly good tournament for them, again as Cloud9. So if you want to see any of the specific results for any of those tournaments that I didn't go into detail on, just check out my Gimmick video. I don't want to do any repetition on that, but you can see the detail in that video. And in terms of prize money for the year, Torment, in fact, I think it comes out as 6th place, right behind, actually I won't spoil any, I won't mention who's right behind, but yeah, he does come 6th place, so, oh no, I can't say, yeah, right behind Jacob actually, yeah, right behind Jacob, who was my 8th place finisher, but they're both so similar, 33,206, Jacob was 33,438, so they're very, very close, right in the middle of the top 10 for prize money. But more impressively, and this is very similar to his teammate Gimmick, Torment had the 5th best win-loss ratio throughout the whole year of 2017 versus other good teams, other teams that were considered top tier. at the time of playing against him. And that win-loss was 15 wins, 11 losses, and that gives him a +4, which is, Gimmick had +6, because the difference was that Torment didn't play, or Torment did play X Games where you went 2 wins, 2 losses against other good teams, and Gimmick did not make the LAN of the Universal Open where Torment went 0-2. So that was what separated Gimmick and Torment there. And like I said, I don't actually hold those results as an overall negative for Torment compared to Gimmick. I think it's an overall positive, because even though he went 2-2 in series win-loss at X Games, if you look a bit closer, losing 4-3 against the eventual winners NRG, who are best in America at the time, that's a fantastic result. I think it's really, really good for Torment, who's coming in as a substitute for Selfless, and Selfless, you know, they'd be happy with that. Torment, I think, can be happy with that as well. So that's his overall win-loss. That's his summary of his year. That's his prize money total. I know a lot of you guys were wanting me to talk a bit more specifically about these players, so I will do that. And now that, you know, we've already seen that I've got Torment at 7 and Gimmick at 10, I know a lot of you guys are going to be putting them in a different order, and that's totally fair. But my reasons for why I think Torment is higher and had a better 2017, besides the fact that he played a great X Games with Dapper and Miho, I think he's probably one of the best defensive players in the game, and Gimmick is one of the best offensive players in the game. That's where I would, you know, separate the two stylistically. But I think Torment is higher up the list, or my list at least, for defensive players than Gimmick is for offensive players. And I know, again, that's subjective. Some of you guys might disagree, but that's why I have Torment higher up here. I think that if you took Torment out of Cloud9, he would be harder to replace than if you took Gimmick out of Cloud9. And that's not to say that I think Gimmick would be easy to replace in Cloud9. I don't think that's true whatsoever. I think Torment would be immensely difficult to replace in Cloud9 because of what he does for the team, and what he's able to accomplish this last year has shown us that. Like I said, the 2v2 Universal Open tournament obviously didn't go very well for Torment compared to Gimmick, because Gimmick wasn't at the LAN, losing the Flipside Amphibion like Torment was. But yeah, the X Games tournament was phenomenal. I'm going to speak to that a little bit more, because this I think shows one of Torment's best strengths, and that is just being able to gel well. He makes his teammates look better. That's a skill that is very difficult to notice in Rocket League, unless you take a player and put them in different lineups, and then you look at all of those lineups as a whole and see if they all did well. And there are some players who in 2017 have done that. Fairy Peak, my number 9, he was in multiple lineups and they all did well. Well, he's at certain stages. Torment, different. He's played for Selfless. They did pretty well. Plays for Cloud9. They also do well. I think if you took Torment and put him in a different lineup, like if you stuck him in NRG, I think that they would still function very well, because Torment's just very easy to play with. He makes his teammates look better, and that's a really, really valuable skill in Rocket League 3v3 at the highest level. The other things that I want to mention briefly about Torment is that I think that his attack is probably underrated. People are always talking about him as a defensive god, and even I just did that right now. But his offense is not bad at all, because he is fully capable in attack and scoring goals, and mainly passing. Like Cloud9, probably the best team in the world at like infield passing and scoring goals from infield passes, even though other teams know it's coming. They really are so good at that, and Torment just slots into that perfectly, whether he's the one making the pass or receiving the pass and trying to volley it into the top corner. He's just such a reliable player, and you know what you're going to get from him. That sort of reliability is needed in a team where you have Squishy and Gimmick, who like to do some things that are a little bit less predictable, perhaps, or a little bit, you know, harder to read. So that's my main reasons for why I put Torment, you know, ahead of Gimmick. I do actually want to know what you guys think about that, though, because I'm very interested to read the comments on this series and see, you know, how my top 10, as it starts to unfold, compares to your guys' top 10. Did you guys think that Torment is going to be in my list after I had Gimmick at number 10? Where do you think if Squishy is going to be in? Where do you think he'll be in it, if at all? And yeah, I really do enjoy seeing your guys' predictions as well. Of what my, like, you know, maybe you're not even trying to tell me what your top 10 is going to be, but you're trying to predict what mine will be, and That's really interesting because some of you are pretty spot on, some of you are miles off. Some of you couldn't be further away from what my top 10 will be. And I reiterate again, this is 2017 as a whole. This is not my current top 10 players in the world at this moment. This is my top 10 players of 2017 as a year. And when we look at that as like a product of what they've been able to accomplish and what they were able to do, and all the results, all the prize money, all their individual contributions to the teams that they're in. That's what we're looking at here. We're not looking at current top 10, or else it would be very different, especially at the top end. But yeah, that's it for Torment. If anybody, well, actually, I'll say one more thing. If anybody's wondering why I put him above Jacob, they both had some pretty good. Like Jacob obviously had a good Universal Open. Torment had a good X Games. Besides that, they were pretty even in what they were able to accomplish, with Jacob starting off the year as the best team in North America, Torment ending the year as the best team in North America, probably, and you know, dominating RLCS Season 3 for NRG America, and then dominating RLCS Season 4 for Torment. So they had pretty similar years. I just think that the result that Torment got in X Games is better than the result that Jacob got in the Universal Open, because it was a 3v3 event, even though they both came third in those respective tournaments. So that's why I've got him edging Jacob out, even though Jacob won like $200 more prize money, right? You know, it's not that big of a difference. And Jacob, of course, he had a slightly worse win-loss ratio versus other top teams. So that, combined with the X Games result being better than the Universal Open result for Jacob, is why I've got him above Jacob here. That's my reasoning for that. So definitely let me know what you think about that as well. But that's going to be it for my number 7. I'll be back tomorrow with my number 6 reveal and explanation, and you guys can all predict who you think it's going to be, and you can judge my number, you know, my 10 through 7 as it stands at the moment. Until then though, have a good day, and I'll see you next time.